Hey everybody, how's it going? I just wanted to fire up the cameras and say hi to everybody here. Just got a couple of things to jabber on about here today. It's been a little while. I looked, and I think my last video was released, a couple months ago. My output has just been terrible over the last year, 2 years or so. It's just kind of representative of where my energy level has been. I don't know about you all, but I've been kind of stuck in first gear for a while now. And I don't know about you as well, but my space starts to reflect that. This is my man cave down here, and I don't just record down here, but it's just kind of my main hangout anyways. Play video games and watch YouTube videos and watch movies and all sorts of stuff, and spending a lot of time in this spot. You just kind of start to accumulate a bunch of clutter and everything. I've been trying lately to get the desk kind of cleaned up here, and hopefully get this back into more of a functional space so that when creativity does strike, and I can actually use it for that purpose instead of having to spend 30 minutes clearing stuff out of my way just to plug a guitar in and hit record. But hey, let's take a quick look around here. I got at least a couple of things interesting enough to talk about, and let's see what all's new here. In computer land, still running the same computer. I do actually have a GeForce 3080 from EVGA. I was on a waiting list for about 14 months to get a hold of that thing, and so far it's working great. I love it. I did move to Windows 11. When I built that system for my friend, we went with Windows 11 because it was a 12th gen Intel platform. And Windows 11 has got some considerations for the scheduling for the P cores and E cores and all that stuff. Anyways, I realized, I'm kind of his primary contact for tech support, and my experience with Windows 11 was almost nothing. And after a couple of weeks, I decided to take the plunge and go for it. Honestly, it's been fine. It seems to be mainly just a cosmetic update to Windows 10. There's always annoyances. You get used to things being a certain way, and then it's a different way, and I get grumpy about stuff like that. But it's not too bad. On the audio front, I'd actually picked this up. Man, when did I get this thing? It's been maybe 6 months ago, and this is a Sound Devices MixPre 6, and this is what has replaced. I had been using the Motu M4 into a tablet laptop thing to record all of my audio for my videos, and that just kind of started to get a little cumbersome, and plus there are some situations where I need that laptop tablet thingy for other purposes while recording videos. So I decided to get a standalone recorder, and the MixPre 6 is honestly, it's been great. And it's got 4 channels in. Well, it's actually got 6 channels in, plus an internal mixer and all that stuff. It's a little pricey for what it is, but the fact that I can get any combination of 4 XLR or TRS inputs into it, and I can run it off a USB bus power, and it does double as an audio interface, but that's not something I'm too interested in. The RME stuff is still kicking, and sorry that's so dark, but the Fireface UFX Plus has just been wonderful. I can't complain about it one bit. The Ferrofish Pulse 16 has also been awesome, and gives me a whole bunch of line-ins and line-outs, and yeah, I don't think the lighting is allowing it, but I did get my patch bays down there wired up a little bit differently than I'd talked about a year ago, to where I had wired them up to where nothing was connected by default, and I would have to patch in anything that I wanted to connect. Yeah, you can probably imagine that was just too big of a pain. So I rewired it all eventually to where I have default pathways, everything's wired up, and then if I want to change anything, I can patch in and change it. But one thing to mention is that I had moved this whole sidecar over here. It was over here. And honestly, I hate it. I hate it being over here because I keep this platform here to keep my mouse on. And that's just a given for me. I'm always gonna do that. I like having my mouse at my side and not up on a desk that I have to reach for it. And that puts this thing between me and the rack. And so things as simple as just powering on, powering off, patching anything, it's just a pain. So I need to move that back over to the other side. My whole rationale in the first place was I didn't want to run a super long USB cable between the interface and the computer. And given the inconvenience of having this all obstructed, I think I'd rather take that risk than have to deal with this thing being in my way all the time. Let me think. The only other new things to kind of talk about here, I got a drum machine. This is the Arturia, what is it, the Drum Brute Impact. So it's kind of an inexpensive drum machine. I realized that I was using that Bleep Labs drum machine that my stepson gave me years ago, that little DIY kit. I was using it enough that I wanted, more options. And I settled on this after looking at a couple of the Behringer reissues, the old Roland stuff. And, I'm not an electronic musician by any means. And honestly, I have not yet scratched the surface of how to use this thing. I do have it to where I can sync tempo to Reaper and just tap in simple stuff. I don't even know how to save a pattern and recall a pattern or anything, so I still got a ways to go on learning this thing, but it's been fun, just a fun little creative toy, And I ended up getting this rack from, who makes this? Pile makes it. And it's like a $30 rack. Obviously I need to do a little cable management here, but having even a 25 key MIDI controller, and this thing, and this is my laptop tablet thingy, all taking up their own footprint on my desk. It was too much. So I wanted a way to kind of stack them on top of each other. And honestly, for a cheap little stand, the lateral stability, not so great, but the vertical stability is great. Like I can really, pound on this stuff and I'm not worried it's gonna fall over or anything. I've got my junk storage down here. I was thinking maybe of getting a couple of drawers, like they make rack mount drawers, to get a couple of those and then a couple of more shallow ones for up top just for junk storage. But my goodness, those things are expensive. Middle Atlantic wants like $275 for one 7-inch drawer. Of all the stuff that I frivolously spend my money on, like like drum machines and super fancy interfaces that are way fancier than what I actually need. Not really willing to drop $275 on a piece of sheet metal. Oh, and of course, there's one thing that I would be remiss if I didn't mention. My oldest friend has had this for years, and he doesn't really play anymore. It was given to him by his grandmother. And he's had it for years and years. I've always loved this thing. And this past New Year's, we got together, and he just dropped my jaw and was like, "Here, this is yours now." This is a 1960 Gibson ES330T. It's a full hollow with a single P90. And I mean, it's mean. I tell you what, that P90 is pretty awesome. It needs a little bit of love, a little bit of TLC. The pots are kind of shot on it, and I've been dragging my feet. I did find a shop here close to me that I think that I would trust to get the job done, because I have zero experience working on hollows and semi-hollows, and I have watched the videos of people swapping out electronics and replacing parts in these things, and it looks just awful. I think I would rather pay somebody to do it, somebody that's done it before, to lessen the risk of damage to the instrument and increase the chances of having it done right. And one thing worth noting, I bought this P-Bass used off a guy in Kansas several years ago, and I bought it for $180. It's a made in Mexico standard P-Bass, and I just immediately fell in love with it. As soon as I brought it home, plugged it in, well, took it to the shop and got it adjusted, and I love it. It's the sound of a bass that I want, and I use it on. It's the only bass I use now. I got a Squier 5-string in the closet that I haven't even touched in probably 5 years. But yeah, the fellow that I bought that off of, I just found out he passed away just a few weeks ago. Found out really late he had a very aggressive cancer and succumbed kind of before anybody knew it. So yeah, just kind of I'm glad that his memory is living on with that instrument, and the fact that it's one of my absolute favorites. I'm very proud to still have that thing. Okay, I think that's just about the only gear jabber that's interesting enough to talk about. But I did have one other thing that I kind of wanted to get off my chest, I guess. You know, I started home recording, recording at home. Oh man, it's been, I don't know, it's getting close to 25 years ago, maybe 23 years ago. And to me at the time, that just meant I'm writing some stuff. I want to record it. I want to show it to a couple of people. And that's kind of been my entire perspective on home recording all these years, even up until today. I like to come up with ideas, some of them good, some of them bad, but I like to record them. I like to layer things on top of each other, create a whole arrangement and orchestration of kind of traditional rock band instruments, and do it all myself, and maybe show it to a couple of people. Like I don't really release anything, but to me that's the spirit of home recording, and all the forums that I've been a member of over the years. That's what almost all of us did. We were just some guy in a basement, in a bedroom, in an attic or a garage, and coming up with ideas and recording it, and then just kind of showing it to each other. How'd I do? Oh, that's pretty good. You could change this. You could do this. Okay, I tried that. Oh yeah, that's better. That's just been the whole spirit of home recording and the home recording community to me for 2.5 decades now. And I don't think it was until I joined, there's a Facebook group that I joined that's a home recording group. And I don't know, it struck me as weird, just kind of the general kind of culture didn't really seem focused around that. And it started to kind of dawn on me that there are kind of a couple of different almost definitions of the term home recording. There's the one that I just described that I've kind of adhered to, but then there's also the professionals that work out of their home. They have a studio at home that's a professional business, and they have clients in, they record. And seeing a community that is, it seems much more focused on that angle of it, I had never really thought about it before. And as discussion points come up and all the advice that over 20 years, you kind of end up with this kind of body of kind of common knowledge. And I found myself like frustrated and irritated even at some of the advice that I would see. I was like, why would you do that? Why would you suggest that? Why would you think that would be good advice? And it really, I think once I came to the realization that, it's a different perspective on things. It's almost a total overlap in the things that are important between the two, but there are kind of some offsets in that Venn diagram, right? In a professional environment where time is money, versus in just a lackadaisical setting to where you can just kind of fiddle ad infinitum, and you're not costing yourself or your client any money, because I don't have any clients. It's me. And last year, I think that the kind of biggest revelation in this came when I picked up a book. Actually, my wife bought me this book for my birthday last year. And this is Mirror Sound. This is written by Spencer Tweedy, who, if you recognize that name, he is the son of Jeff Tweedy, the kind of frontman of the band Wilco, one of my favorite bands. And Spencer is an accomplished drummer in and of himself. He's played on a couple of his dad's solo records, which has been really cool. And so he put out this book called Mirror Sound, and I think that the subtitle says a lot about this kind of revelation that I'm talking about. And the subtitle is A Look into the People and Processes Behind Self-Recorded Music. And I think that term self-recorded music really kind of struck a chord with me, in that I think that kind of describes what I've known as home recording and a home recording studio all these years, and to kind of have a term for it. I mean, I don't think I'm going to go change the name of my channel anytime soon, but I think that term, self-recorded music, kind of speaks to me and my goals and ambitions of recording my own stuff. And I think that it provides kind of a valuable delineation between the at-home professional versus the self-recorded artist. But I think if you're at all interested in home recording one way or the other, this is a wonderful book. The interviews, I think, they're good, but I think what really is the selling point of this is the photography. Just the photography through the whole thing, and even just the stock that that it's printed on. It's just a pleasure to thumb through the pages and see these kind of familiar, messy, kind of amateurish spaces from around the world, and some of whom like you're gonna recognize, like Mac DeMarco's in here, and there's just some just wonderful photography, some wonderful spaces, and it all just feels kind of familiar and comforting to see people working in the way that I've been accustomed to working throughout the years. So definitely highly recommended. And Mirror Sound from Spencer Tweedy. Oh, one more thing before I go. I wanted to show you one more thing. This has been kind of a dream of mine for a long time. And I have a recording light outside of my studio, like an on-air light. My voice assistant on my phone is currently connected to my camera. I wonder if I can yell loud enough. I'll bleep it out so I don't send your Android device into a tizzy, but okay, turn on the recording light. Let's see if that works. Yay, it worked. the Google Home is upstairs, so I had to kind of yell for that. But I love it. I love having an on-air light right outside of my door here, so I can definitely let my wife know, do not disturb, and let her know I'm down here recording with live microphones. I thought you all would get a kick out of that. She got this for me for Christmas off of Etsy. I don't know the specific maker. I'll ask her and I'll put it in the description below if you want to take a look at, you know, they've got all sorts of variations on this, but I love it. Down to the font, that old kind of RCA font. I love everything about this. Well, I've jabbered on long enough, and the heater just kicked on, which is going to make some noise. So I'm going to leave it there and say thank you all very much. Oh yeah, past 15,000 subscribers over the last couple of months. So thank you all very much, each and every one of you that are subscribing and liking and commenting and all that stuff. I so greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'll shut up for now, and I'll talk to you guys again next time.